of July. My name's Kenneth Bird. My company is ILEG Technology Screens, and we make all different forms of things, like everything from black screen paints to these new invisible high-tech screens that can absorb sunlight and all the other cool stuff that we make every day. So, question. I have this huge black bag over here, my large bag, and I use that for transporting my larger screens back and forth, and I have to be outside because the technology we have, which is under our sun diffusion energy gain, requires demonstrations to be done outside. It has a tremendously high gain formula that allows the screen to operate outside, and we show that off as much as we possibly can. So I have larger surfaces that are around 36 by 24 by 36, and they're quite big. So instead of lugging those things around, I got myself a nice carry bag and take them with me. Alright, so I had the bag sitting up there against the screen over there, and I got a few comments that said, hey, does that bag match? Now, you would think the person who does the most black versus black test demonstrations on their product, like everybody else doesn't do those tests, like gray versus gray, since we're seeing a lot of those, you know, we would test that. We actually do. We test everything. So, we're going to lay that against the screen and show you otherwise. Now, mind you, as I said before, we can't express enough why it's important that you do the gray versus gray and black versus black test demonstrations, because it means your customers don't get ripped off. And if you go to the blacklist, you will see why we strongly suggest batch numbers, verification, all testing be shown on the screen before it's paid, and for anybody buys it, because you can very well end up doing it yourself. I literally had a screen paint magic happen. A lot even I literally got on YouTube. Cat blankets, several paints. Alright, we'll take our screen up here, my bag. Vinyl with screws bag. That's our black screen paint there. And as you can see, no, it does not match our technology at all, period. It comes out much darker than our screen. Also, too, put the wrong mouse here. White screensaver. There you go. Our screen pulls a tremendously high white level. Black versus black test basically displays what you have to do. At least over 60 of these things have to be done. This will be posted to the site. I'll do another short video, post it, put it onto the site. You have to have a lot of these done. And the reason why a lot of these tests have to be done is because you don't want to make sure that you're matching anything. Because this is going to come up quite a lot in just about everything you do. This question will come up among customers, it'll come across people that are doing business with you, people that are contractors, even the office it came up. It comes up on everything. I mean, come on. Be real here. You make a great screen paint, and you're at Home Depot, and you're seeing a lot of great paint there. You're not going to put two and two together that literally you could have done that one yourself. That's why those tests are important. There's the reason why distributorships, anybody is going to ask you to do those tests. And you have to do a lot of it. You don't get a chance to do it one time. You would do this test every single time you would display a screen, because you run the risk of somebody being there to ask the question, hey, I got great paint on my wall, isn't this the same thing? There you go. If you are in this business, whether it be certified screen or whatever it may be, and you think for a hot second that no one's going to answer that question, you are sadly mistaken. That is definitely what happened. You are sadly mistaken. If you ever think in a million years that this topic will never come up, you are sadly mistaken. It is definitely going to pop up. Lights out. So you have to do this test called black versus black. The black versus black test proves that your screen light's on or off It's not going to be able to match any form of black surface. And what plays the most highest in a black surface? White levels. So without those white levels, your color and everything else doesn't kick. You just have this dark, dirty image. That's what I see in a lot of, not to say a lot, but people who try to make black products, I see that in your demonstrations. We see this really heavy, dirty black image where your colors are coming up really, really dark and dirty. When your colors come up dark and dirty, it means your white levels aren't kicking high enough. And that means that your screen is going to come up looking dingy. It helps when you do this demonstration. Yes, you have as much light as you have as possible, and your projector does sit on eco mode. Because again, you want to be sure that you're not using a high power projector just to generate white light. Lights on or whoever, doesn't match our technology. T-shirts, hats, hoodies, you name it, I've done it. Multiple different versions of paints. I've even done chalk paint, I've done spray paint, I've done dip, I've done all that stuff. You have to be able to back that up. You can't back that up, you're going to be in a whole lot of trouble if someone basically buys your product and your product does match a house paint or a cat blanket. You're going to be in a lot of trouble. So to answer that question, no, it doesn't match the battery. I test myself. See, I find it interesting that people challenge me, but I'm the one doing all the testing. When we challenge them, I don't get anything back. Stuff is supposed to be tested. Big difference. Big difference. So, this is why people get upset when we ask for those tests. You're supposed to be having these tests on your site. I bet you $100 I can get your stuff to match something. I guarantee you. Because your stuff's not tested at all, period. That's why we found out the other one. This stuff is matching house paint. We literally made it out of house paint. Oh, that's none of the other tests you're going to have to do. So you're literally going to have to make your own product. Try to make a generic version of your product and then put it on against your screen. You have to make 3 of these or 4 of these to do this. I have it already. I did it already. Tests are very important. Must be done. Gotta do those tests. Avoid those tests, there's a lot of problems. You got, I got a hat. I'm wearing black shirts sometimes. I wear them all the time from time to time. One of the time I like to wear my black shirts. So, I walked in front of the screen a couple times with a black shirt on, and the image popped on my shirt. Now, prematurely, what somebody would say is, that shirt does the same thing as the product. Nope. It doesn't do the same thing as the product at all, period. Because when it's hitting my shirt, it looks like it's on a standalone. If I take a black piece of fabric, hit it with a projector, you think the image pulls up. Technically, it's not reading white light. That's a t-shirt. See, we do all these tests already. That's why I can do this live, easily. Any customer, anybody comes in and asks a question, no problem whatsoever. I even got demonstrations where I've literally painted into the screen, which means that's a very difficult demonstration to do. You have to paint into the screen with black paint over your product. So when you claim to have a black screen, you got to have these tests done. These are the first ones you got to do right off the bat. Before your product, even at its lowest point, has to do these tests. If these things are missing, you look at the timestamp date between the time you try to sell this stuff, between the timestamp date when you first announce this stuff, if we don't see any of these tests in between, take it to court. Because we know you can't back it up. We know darn well you can't back that stuff up. That's an open and shut for us. We can get rid of you just like that. Even before you start, we can get rid of you. Because you haven't done the test, that's why. And if you sold something without it being properly tested, by the time we get you on the stand and we start drilling into you, you're not going to be able to answer much because you don't know anything about your stuff because you never tested it. And that's AKA consumer fraud that you can't do. See, my thing is at the end of the day, I develop black technology. And if I develop black technology, I'm not going to do like some of these companies do, a whole bunch of these generic companies come out and then basically taint the product, taint the name of it like they did ambient light projection technology, because now anything that has a little bit of light in the environment is considered to be ALR, which is now the screen, that's all just put to waste. So we're going to put pressure on anybody who basically comes out with a paint. We'll take you to court. I don't care how big your company is. We'll file a lawsuit. We'll take you to court. We'll challenge you. We're going to challenge anybody with black technology that if you don't have those proper tests that's matching what we do or close to what we do, take it to court. We're going to challenge your company. Now, what I've seen from most, if not all, they're just basically at the end of the day just trolling. They're not serious brand, they're just trolling. That's all. If you mention my company's name, mention me, and you're trying to troll, we're suing you. That's just going to happen automatically. But as for companies like Smarter Surface that claims to have a black screen, technically you don't. I've actually tested your stuff. Your white levels are really, really bad, especially for a black technology. They're really, really bad. Your angle gain doesn't pull up correctly. And then having a nice conversation with you in a bit of a live stream chat with you, you lied about a lot of stuff. One of the things you said, and I got it on and recorded, I documented, you said you had a white screen that works outside in direct sunlight. We operate in direct sunlight. So now we're going to send them a little video, have a little conversation with them again, so they can retract whatever they just said. Because there's no way in a white screen would ever have that type of capability. I don't even operate inside correct. Got to be to back these things up. How come when we go to people's websites, we don't see gray versus gray? I don't see no gray versus gray tests anywhere. Only one person actually did it, and he matched. Twice. So, that means at the end of the day, you don't know what you have on your wall. You don't have a 100% guarantee that stuff won't match house paint. Take a little experiment. Go down to Home Depot, go to Lowe's, go to any one of those places. Go pick up some everyday basic gray paint. All you got to do is put like, 2 tablespoons of white paint into a quart. That's all you have to do. And boom, that's it. It'll match just by anything. Network gray will definitely match anything. That stuff has a crazy tone to it. It'll match anything on the market. People out here selling eBay, is your stuff tested? How much of that stuff on eBay is going to match your house paint? Glue screen. Another consideration. You're a big company today. Did you even do those tests yourself? Bet you $100 they didn't. Every gray certified screen right now on the market, how much of your stuff can match something you can start off a shelf? I'm not going to pay $800 for an elite screen. What do you call the screen they have? What you have? The cinema gray. If I can slide it off a shelf. So how much is your stuff matching? Because no one did these tests, which we noticed. And even after they watched this, we've been doing these back since 7th. Because guess who gave us the idea? A troll. A troll gave us the idea. It was a very good one too. And people were challenging us. They don't like it when you have more superior technology than everybody else. So they challenge you, and that's what I like, a challenge. And they said, hey, what are the odds of that stuff matching black paint? I said, man, that's a good idea. So we started doing all these demonstrations since 7th. So we took the same thing that you threw at us and turned it back on you, but this time with a much bigger, cannon on the other end of it. And that will force you to mean that if you don't do these demonstrations, you can't back this stuff up and take it to court. Now, for only people that will be ruffled about this are people who make it. Customers aren't ruffled about this because now customers are not curious, like, gee whiz, how much this stuff does match house paint? I did a lot of testing. It's a lot. It is a whole lot. It's kind of shocking on how much it is. It's a lot. It is a lot. The majority you have screens on your wall that you literally could have done it yourself. You spend a lot of money on something that literally you could have stood off the shelf. So that's why I asked them today, where is your testing? If we're only looking at your product, like Danny's Series C, I couldn't find one demonstration on a black versus black test. Not one. Well, first things first, it kind of helps if your screen is actually black and not turning gray on you on camera. That would help. That would be the first thing I think he would have to learn how to conquer first, is how to actually get a black screen that's actually black and not gray. Other than that, yeah. That's just the problem you're going to have. If somebody really want to get a YouTube name for themselves, and as long as they keep it within the guidelines, so don't get sued by companies, because companies are finicky like that, they'll basically get mad because you outed them. I wonder if they tested themselves. Did the same thing about it. It's a massive consumer fraud. You know how much trouble you get for that one? But anyway, yeah, go out there and just take a bunch of gray paint and then go out there and buy a bunch of gray screens and then look, match. Yeah. I told you that from the door when we saw Fernando's paint. I sat there and said, all that stuff will match house paint. Every single drop of it. Was I wrong? I was 100% right. We're the ones who started the Network Grade 773 challenge. We started that. We failed at it miserably, and it pulled the video. And then brought one of the videos back and lied on that one, and then pulled that video. And then got sent his own paint to his own address and sent it back. Does that sound like a person that could back his product? No. But meanwhile, took a lot of money from people. A lot of money. All those people who bought his product, they could have did it themselves easily. Actually, he could have used his own tutorial video and got it done for free. So now you got all these other companies out there right now. How much of that stuff is matching house paint? I can tell you what's not matching house paint. The certifiers don't. I know that for a fact they don't match house paint. Now maybe there are other screens they may have, more lighter gray screens, they may do it. But that gunmetal, oh no, that stuff don't match house paint. You've seen the demonstrations on that side by side on the table. We can take out the gunmetal. Gunmetal can take out the gray screen. Gray screen's not taking out a gunmetal screen. That's why you got people come up there and they try to say their stuff is gunmetal. Please stop saying that. If your stuff is gunmetal, first things first, you wouldn't be writing on the side of a container. It's not ambient light rejection. Do you know the purpose of what gunmetal is? The design of gunmetal? That's why I said people today don't know what they're doing. They flip-flop where they want to go. Gunmetal screens have very high gains. They don't have a 3.0 or a 2.0. They got very high gains sitting up because their darker screens are designed to absorb more light. So it's a more advanced screen than the other screens. So if you write on the side of a container that your dark gunmetal product, which looks like Frankenstein, is not ambient light rejection, that's a lot of freaking red flags. I posted that in a couple of forums. I was like, what the freak is he talking about? It's not ambient light rejection. Then yet other people come up in that room and confess that they bought paint from him and he said it was. Like the fellow who opened up his windows and his curtains washed out. And no mean, if you listen to the guy, in no means was he bad-mouthing in any way whatsoever, trying to make him look bad. But he wasn't happy, because he said not enjoyable. That's one of the things he mentioned. Another thing, why would we open up the curtains? Well, that somebody told him that the paint could be used in a fully lit environment, which was a lie. That's why stuff has to be tested, so you can see what you're getting. So, when I got asked that question about the black bag up there, I was like, yeah, let's do it live. I don't have a problem with that, because their products are all tested. When I walk up there with a t-shirt, people say, oh, that t-shirt matches? Nope, doesn't match at all, period. This is why you got to be careful about things you say out of your mouth, because companies can take you to court on this and file lawsuits against you. They'll challenge you in court on it. That's what's about to happen to Mr. Fernando. Mr. Fernando got a bunch of letters coming to his home, to his apartment. In those documents are things we caught him saying on camera about our company. So he has to sign the documents. He doesn't sign them. It basically proves to the courts when we take him for heavier charges that he made false accusations about our business that clearly he could not back up. They lead to bigger and worse things. So be very careful what you say, because you might get a letter from our company challenging you. That's what happened with Vivistorm and Epson. Epson looked at their projector and said, there's no way in the world. It's a 6,000 lumen projector. They challenged Vivistorm, and Vivistorm lost in court. I wonder how that went at the end of the day. I'm pretty sure they sent them a notice like, look, buddy, we know your projector is nowhere near 6,000 lumens. I can tell that. I can look at that and tell the projector is nowhere near 6,000. 6,000 lumen ultra short though, it looked like an environment bouncing off a white surface? Are you freaking kidding me? That's like somebody, you'd be in the garage and somebody driving and turn on the high beams. That's what that would look like. Man, that's crazy. There's no way in the world. No. But anyway, I'm looking at the screen. It was way too dim for that. Way too dim. But anyway, Epson challenged him. Now, that whole 4K nonsense, again, I don't know how in the world. Now, I had a huge argument with them about that, about how can you say a projector is 4K when you're using shifting technology, and that's not even real 4K. That's not even 4K. It comes in what? I had to ask them over and over again. I said, what is the resolution base of your projector? You know, the sad thing about it is that people who are in the business to rip off other people will not question other people because they're doing things themselves that are questionable. So basically, no one would ask, not saying everybody, but the particular people that were influencing that projector, no one would ask, what is the base of the projector itself? Because if it's not 4K, which is using pixel shifting technology, what makes it 4K? What's the base of the projector? You've got to start from somewhere. And I asked them this question multiple times, and they tried to go into this whole DOP chip, blah, blah, blah. I said, no, man, I'm not having a conversation with you. I asked you a simple question. What is the base resolution of your projector? If it's not 4K, what is it compressing off? You know what I was talking about. And then all of a sudden, I got the audience and the people in the room were having, look at this conversation, I was having back and forth with the people of Valdo. And the guy finally said 1080p. So it's a 1080p projector. Literally, 4K compressing is not true. You have not even enough pixels to have an actual native 4K. Which means your gaming system that has that ability to read 4K can't read it on that projector. Your audio system that picks up a 4K audio signal, it can't pick it up. Because you don't actually have 4K. You have a fake version of 4K. Now, if 4K did exist, then that would be acceptable, but 4K does exist. So that's the conversation we had back and forth. So basically, they're going to spend $3,700 for a projector that doesn't even do 4K. And it was a 37 something whip. That's under $3,700. That's something crazy up there. So if that's the case, I can just buy a P2. A P2 is an actual 4K projector. It's around $3,700 around that time, at $3,500 at the most, a little cheaper. That's actual 4K. And then this projector, again, had a 4,000 to 1 contrast aspect ratio. First things first, contrast, 4,000 to 1 contrast. First of all, why in the world would a newer projector have a 4,000 to 1 to begin with? 4,000 to 1 ends up on projectors of 2011, 2012 models. They have 4,000 to 1. That's extremely low. That's another red flag. But if you're buying a projector for the first time, you don't know much about projectors, it's easy to get duped into something like that. Unforgettable. That's what you are. Like, that's almost a beautiful song. But anyway, yeah. There's no way in the world. So, yeah, Epson saw bullcrap. We kept Epson right there. Epson called bullcrap. Took him to court, challenged them, and won. We can challenge any company we want. Any company can challenge us. That's why we have contracts. Sign the contracts, go to court. Nobody wants to sign those things. You know why? Because this is what happens to you in a courtroom. You get your butt kicked in there by us. We test our stuff. But if you're not sure 100%, that means you're not sure about your own product. You send those contracts. You're not sure you're going to sign that document. You're not sure whether or not you can win it or not. Yeah, that speaks volumes. That speaks volumes in the projector community. But our stuff, now we back our stuff up. So, after I'm done a few things here, I got to jump on eBay. I got some questions to ask people. How much of that stuff on there is matching house paint? Have these tests been done? Before I purchase this, do I know if this is going to match house paint or not? That one fellow, we're going to be ordering his stuff because he said something about high-grade screens, whatever. We'll give it a run. These tests are important. They have to be done. Here's the thing. If you're on YouTube and you have not done these tests, you run the risk of a company challenge you, which would be us. We will challenge you in a hot second. We'll take it to court. Because again, why should a customer get ripped off? If this upsets you as a person who makes these products, then at the end of the day, you know you're doing dirty. If this scares you as a person who makes products, you're doing dirty at the end of the day. The customer needs to know what they're buying. They need to know what they're getting. If that means we take it to court, we take it to court. That's all to it. If we're asked to do these tests, people want to question our products, and they want us to do all these tests that they don't do. They bark all these commands that, oh, you got to do this and do that and blah, blah, blah. What about you? Where's your testing done? So you'll bark commands at us and tell us we got to do testing, but you don't do the testing. Yours will come at a heavier price. Yours will come with a courtroom. That's what we're going to do. I mean, dragging a lot of people, probably 30, 40 people will be going in and out of court when we get done with it. Because I need to know how much of this stuff is matching house paint. They should have started doing that nonsense with the knockoff projectors. When the knockoff projectors first started coming in, these companies should have came in and challenged them. The only one I saw challenged was Epson. They're the only ones that came in and challenged these other companies. Everybody else to this side. Now you got these freaking nightmares all over the place, they're plaguing everything. They make so many cheap knockoff projectors, and those things were a headache for us at first because customers would use those things and say, hey, your screen came out too dark. And I'm like, no, that's not possible. We test these things on thousands of projectors. I bought one of those projectors and hooked it up. When that screen went dark, I was like, ah, shoot. It's these projectors that do that nonsense. Those things are freaking headaches. So, we got the policy on the website. If you own one of those projectors, we can't sell it to you because we know what they do. They go dark. Can't sell it to you. Now, like I said, the only people that are ticked off by the fact that we're going in and challenging companies on getting better products for the customers is companies. No customer in their right mind is going to sit there and go, oh yeah, I'm looking forward to ending up with a screen paint that's literally going to match some house paint that could have stood off a shelf. No one's saying that. So, I got a YouTube channel coming up. And this YouTube channel coming out is going to challenge all you gray screens and what you have out there. Does your product actually work? And this is going to be broadcast in the network room. So I told you about the network room we're building. It's an area where these cameras are linked up all over the world. You'll be exposed all over the world. Does your stuff really work? Like up close and personal, we cut away all that nonsense. We don't have no 4Ks in there, no 1080p's, no dark environments. Just you project your screen the way it's supposed to be. No calibrating nonsense, no high inky projectors, none of that. Straightforward, to the point, up close and personal. This one is going to be for the world to see. Everybody can log in and they can see everything. And you're supposed to see that. So, question. How much of this stuff matches house paint? I'm going to show you. And companies come in today and say, hey, we're going to follow suit. How are you going to follow suit? You're supposed to be doing this nonsense to begin with. The fact that we figured out that your stuff matches everyday house paint, they should be following lawsuits against you, because how many screens did you sell not knowing or not doing these tests to begin with? If you're shocked and this catches you off guard, it means you never did the test. Now, the reason why this is done, the perfect poster child. Jamie is the perfect poster child, I say I'm calling him a child, but you know what it's called, on why products have to be tested. You go to the blacklist, you will see this guy come up there, bear receipts, show a container of paint, paint it down, boop, matched. So that means everyone he sold that product to could have literally went to Home Depot, I mean Sherwin-Williams, and bought network grade 773 and did the same thing and saved money. Even worse, product we got sitting under the desk because the refusal was made using one of his own tutorial videos. I had a weird feeling when I was looking at his paints, the colors of them. I was like, these things are in stair steps. They're only off by a couple of shades of black. One of the things I first noticed. Another thing I noticed that the paint he was making in the free looked exactly like the Metallica mix he was selling. And that's why we had one shipped in by a customer. Remember, we had a customer ship one in. That's what had the hole in the top. He didn't know it was coming to us. That's why he couldn't tamper with it. That's why we had a customer bringing it. You know how sad that is when we have to have another customer order somebody's product because you're afraid they're going to tamper with it. You know, anytime you want from that, you can come buy from my website. I've been telling you this for years, but you don't because you know my stuff works. If I ship you a container of this over to you, know how badly this is going to make you look on YouTube? I'm saving that for last. But anyway, you can always come and buy. I should have to ship to you. How many times, put it away, how many times have I purchased from your website compared to how many times you purchased from mine? There you go. That tells you right there. Because he knows at the door, if he purchases that stuff and brings it there and pops that top, that stuff will destroy your screen. Because that's the real deal you'll have in your hand. Not that fake stuff you've been messing around with. That's getting you sued right now for court. But anyway, yeah, those tests need to be done. And that's why we're still sending him up the network grade 773 because he missed 2 of the screens in his test. Metallica and Personal. You skip those. You're going to have to do those tests. That box is coming to your address with several letters. They're asking to back up the claims you made against us online. So, sign, see you in court. Don't sign, we'll still see you in court. We just have more substantial evidence that you can't back up. And your lawyer won't touch you. And if you're able to get one, we can set up those documents. Look, we gave him the opportunity and he passed. They won't touch you. So you won't get anybody to represent your case when you go to court. So you figure it out. But anyway, getting back to this whole thing of stuff matching stuff left and right. Yeah, he matched twice. Bear's silver screen with Personal Mix, which was the same customer screen who washed out. Mind you, when he called us up doing that test, he was in a completely dark environment when he did it and still matched. And let me see what other is going on. Stuff was matching bed sheets. He went out and took red lighting and put it around the screen. Red lighting throws cameras off, big time. Throws them off. So he took, that was the only video he did. He didn't do any other videos besides that one. Only that was red lighting. And I was able to come here and match you to a cat blanket that my cat had for about a year. Now the refusal is his product on his site. The jacked up thing about the refusal and the paint we have on the black and white paint challenge, the so-called Metallica mix that doesn't have silver in it, it matches all his paints. Because in that demonstration called the challenge, we put it against a mix that we paid for. We paid for the Personal Mix. And the Personal Mix in the Metallica mix that the customer sent in matched that free mixture. And then later on, when we got our hands on the, from a customer who sent us these, the Cinemax also matched the same mixture. This joker is just ripping people off left and right. Yep. So we put the challenge out there, he refused to do it. What better way to do it than basically post the tracking numbers so everybody has tracking numbers, go out there and send them the same mixture right to his front door, make a version of the actually the real version of it, which is how it should have been made. See what happens. He turned it down, he sent it back. So that means that everybody who purchased any one of those mixes from him, you all got ripped off. Mind you, we made it at a $15 worth of kids' washable hobby paint. So, that tells you right there. No testing. This is why stuff has to be tested. If he had tested that stuff against any of that gray paint, walking out of Home Depot all the time, he went to Home Depot and he basically tested that stuff, he'd have realized it was matching. He probably knew it was matching. And he would come up on camera and lie and say, oh, this is my favorite mix. This is my mixes of all mixes. It's my special mix. It does this, it does that, and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, he just ripped you guys off. You ever see when these tests are being done? Now, as I said before, that when he did one of the tests with the bare silver screen, he was right up on top of the screen. Like, well, see right here? See? Buddy, hiccup. A small little hiccup doesn't mean jack to a customer. Because, again, if you got a couch that costs $5,000 and you got a couch that costs $200 and you really can't tell the difference, and most people will get up on top of something and look right down on top and see how close you're going to be able to notice the difference. And you really can't see, guess what? You're going to spend $200 for a couch. There's no way in the world you're going to spend $5 grand for something and you really can't tell the difference. Your screen, where you have to be that close at a finger's distance to show there's a little bit of slight difference, no one's going to recognize that. I don't freaking 11 feet back at 100 inches. You're not going to see that at all, period. So I'm just monitored by the house paint instead. Now, if you can see a massive difference like that right there, saying that, okay, you got these screens right here, let's say they're the color screens, they're about maybe about, I'd say about $200 a pop. And say the one we got in the middle is about $5 grand. Guess which one they're buying? That one for $5,000. Because you can see a difference, a massive difference. That's what you have to show in court. He's being charged on mass fraud. It's one of the other charges he has that's coming up, or mass fraud. And this is the reason why we explain that people are making products, and you're doing all that nonsense, we're the ones going to find you. And we're the ones going to take you to court and challenge your company. Hobby, company, eBay listing, don't make a difference what it is, we're going to challenge you. You forfeit, you're in a lot of trouble. Once those papers are drawn up and ready to go to court, you will go to court. If not, you forfeit. You're going to have problems after that. A lot of problems. Lawsuits, fines, a lot of stuff is going to pop up. And mind you, any type of fraud is prison. Any type. Some people may get probation if they're smaller ones. Smaller offenses. It depends on how much you sold, how much you were advertising and stuff also too. Plays a factor. And when those criminal charges pop up for that particular section of it all, because one's going to be fraud, one's going to be the criminal charge, if you have to go back for sentencing for that, you better show up for that one, because it doesn't involve bench warrants. That's why if you want to get on YouTube or whatever you're selling at the end of the day, or eBay, and you think it's a joke because you're a small company in the day, no, you'll be treated like a large company. Because it's very dangerous if people get on there and they sell things that are not really legit. You could hurt somebody. So how can I hurt somebody? Which is paint. This is the reason why they have these laws in place. So your smoke detector in your home, or your gas line, a little piece that connects between your stove and the outside line, if that thing was defective, you know what would happen? You would have gas leaking through your entire apartment or whatever. Anyone in that apartment, that thing can be leaking. And just happen you go in to light a match or something. Well, guess what? You're going to find yourself meeting God a little earlier, or you're going to find yourself sitting out in the parking lot if you survive it. That's the reason why everything has to go under restrictions on testing. Has to be to show test that the thing's actually working. You're going to be driving around one day and your windshield blow through your freaking car and take your head off. You don't want to go through that. Then you expect for it to be tested. So everything must be tested. I don't care if it's paint, I don't care if it's mouthwash, I don't care what it is, it has to be tested. That ensures us as consumers that we're getting what we paid for. When you go out and make products that are not properly tested, then the consumer gets ripped off. You get money, but they get ripped off. I find it interesting for the company at the end of the day that's supposed to be the biggest scammer is the one who pushes the most hardcore rules. And you guys are the ones that are giving us back money, canceling your website, shutting down your businesses. You guys are doing that. You know why? Because we're the ones that won't go in line with you guys. You won't sit down in your gravy train at the end of the day and take and get nothing back. Oh, come on, play fair with us, play in line with us. You don't need to do all that. That's like a person who likes to work hard and make his money, and you got people like to slack off and collect off the company's time. You don't like him because he goes and he works hard every single day. You want him to just ease back with you guys. You're making us look bad. You're making us work harder. That's what you don't like. I'm going to make you work real hard. Really, really hard. I'm going to make you earn that dime at the end of the day. You don't get no easy ride on this. If you don't want to do the job correctly, then get out of the business. That's what you do. If you want to continue to drive the gravy train in the day, I'll derail your train in a hot second. I'll take you to my lawyer, I'll take you to court. And then you can sit there and you can explain to us and all of us in the courtroom why your stuff is matching house paint at the end of the day and why you're lying to your customers, telling them they're getting something that they're not really actually getting. So, that's that. And that's why I love Epson. I love Epson. I love Epson. I like the fact that they stood up and put them on blast like that, because Valve was selling that projector as a 4K. You ever seen the Kickstarter program? I did. Kickstarter program said nothing about compressing. Not one time. It said 4K at 150 inches, and it said that it has 6,000 lumens. That projector's not even close. It'd be lucky if it made 18. 4K doesn't have it. It has a 4001 contrast, which is very poor on the projector. It's very poor. 4000 is very poor. My projector, they got 4000. It's a 2011 model. How's the projector in that new model got 4000? And then 150 inches. You're not getting 150 inches out of that. Where are you going to get the pixels to compress to get 150? You don't get to have pixels left over to compress, right? So at 100 inches, compress. Anything between 100 and I say 100 and roughly you'd be pushing about 135. You got area room to compress pixels. But you're at 150 max. So where in the world are you getting the pixels to compress to 150? I asked him that question multiple times. I didn't get anything back from him. Liar, liar, pants on fire. I swear, more companies need to start doing that at the end of the day. These fake knockoff machines. I'm going to do my job when it comes to screen paints and projection screens. Man, we get a letter from my company like, snap, these guys. Yeah, that's what it's going to be like, these guys. Yeah, there you go. I get a lot of your customers talking about how I turn the lights on, the screen just disappeared. Not a word you say is true. So watch the raging going on in their channels. Watch your channels. Every time you mention something, they go off. The batch number verification, they try to make the batch numbers look like they don't work. When we get to court, gentlemen, you're going to find out how batch numbers work. But in this particular case, this is going to be bad for you. So good luck on that one. Yeah, they try to debunk the batch number as saying it's not needed. Companies have been using batch numbers before you had your channel. Before I had my channel, companies have been using batch numbers. It's a real thing. You can type it up and do some research. That's when we got the idea from the batch numbers. So it's a way to ensure your company, it's a way to ensure the customers are getting the batch number. Now, did Jamie do any videos like this? Any of them? He did 2 of them. Did they have the same results as we're having right now? No, they did not. They matched. That's why we did the research. We found out that no one was buying his product after those videos came out. Because even they could see that. And then the man came back on there and continued alive and saying it had a yellowish tone. He's gonna, when he goes to court, he's gonna have to show there was a yellowish tone that was producing on the screens. Man. So with that being said, yeah, Danny Rogers, Gain Range, made a whole lot of stuff on his paint that didn't even exist. Just making stuff up on camera and putting a PayPal shopping cart attached to it. He's being basically taken to court for mass consumer fraud. Also to consider the fact that him and Jamie all knew each other and Jamie was involved in consumer fraud. This is not looking too good for you guys. McAfee was also participating in this consumer fraud because he was advertising the screens, knowing what these screens were, and continue to sell to the public, knowing the screens were faulty. You guys work together. Just like Jamie did a review on whatchamacallit's product, Partay's product, and back and forth. Because you guys were all in this little circle of robbing from people. Anybody that was involved in boosting that paint, knowing what it was doing, you're part of that scheme. When we launch that, when investigation gets launched. So, you knew that stuff was house paint, and yet you continue to sell it as if it was something special. And that means you ripped off customers at the end of the day, which means you're going to have to pay that back. And some of those fines that come in for a consumer fine could be $500,000 easy. $250,000 and $500,000, $800,000, they go up. Can't pay this money up. They're going to send debt collectors to your front door and they're going to start taking your stuff from you. Some of this stuff can possibly get you a year in jail. So yeah, there's going to be a problem there for a lot of people that got involved in that mess. But Danny started some nonsense about Gain Range. He's being challenged on that. We're challenged in court on Gain Range. So he's got to tell us what is his stuff, because I sent him multiple letters to his account. I've reached out to him multiple times asking what is this range game. Can't tell me that. Because it doesn't exist. So he just decided I'm going to dress in all black. I'm going to stand behind a chalkboard. Probably put a Bunsen burner on the table with a couple of freaking chemistry glasses up there. And I'm going to say that I know about Partay science at the end of the day. Man, your science ain't worth jack at the end of the day. If everything was based off your science, we would be still back in the Stone Ages right now. Because everything you do is you lie. No gain range doesn't exist. There's no videos. How is that even going to work? He could never pop up on the forum site. He would get ranked all day long. It would bust on him all day long. You got no videos proving this at all. You want to challenge us on our game rank? Game rank. Ugh. You want to challenge us in our technology and game? Please do. I got over what, 20, 30 videos on that stuff, and all different types of environments, different areas, different types of projectors. Please do. I can do that in the court's parking lot. And that's going to cost you a lot of money, just so you know. Because if I have to take time out of my day for that nonsense, it's going to cost you a lot of money. I'll back that up in the courtroom any day that you want. What do you want to do this at? Name a place and we'll go. Yeah, because you already know what we're about. You back yourself up any day of the week. If you made a demonstration saying our product came out too dark, you're screwed on so many levels, it's not even funny. You mean black versus black test demonstration we have? Heck, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to have you paint into my screen with black paint. Right there for all to see. It is going to, I guarantee you, you're reading the court documents where they try to deny they don't want to do it. They don't want to do it. They don't want to do it. You're going to do it. You don't have a choice. In that courtroom, I have control. You're going to paint that screen in. You're going to paint my screen in first. It's going to dry. I'm going to take that black paint. I'm going to paint it into my screen. Be careful. They watch your body language. Nervousness, shaking of the breast, stuff like that. Your body shaking, hands shaking, stuff like that. That tells that you're guilty. And they look at your lawyer. The lawyer puts his head down in different directions. He already knows this old. So, yeah, I'll give it to your lawyer. He can do it himself. Now, we know we can go open and shut and win a case easy. But I want to savor this. I want you to go through the whole 4-9 yards. I want this to be a nice, long, drag-out court case that we know is going to drain everything from you. That's what it's designed to do, wear you down. We're going to ask all the questions that I wanted to ask that, again, you refuse to ask on YouTube. And you're under oath, so you better tell the truth. Till then, you don't test your stuff out, and you feel that you're going to do the same thing like these characters did at the end of the day, you'll have the same fate. We'll find your company, we'll challenge you. In court. Not on YouTube, in court. I ain't time for YouTube nonsense. We do it right now with him because at the end of the day, he's already going to court. He's already done. We're going to cook that turkey either way. But you guys, if you're out there doing that dumb nonsense, I'm not even bothering on YouTube channel. I'm going to take you to court. We're going to do it in court. So either you start showing yourself it's not matching house paint, you start doing these tests correctly, or we'll challenge anything. I don't care if it's a hobby, I don't care if it's a weekend, whatever it is. If you're making payments and making money off of it, we're taking the court on it. We're going to challenge you. And as I said, for me, at the end of the day, I have contracts. Do you have contracts? Do any of you have contracts challenging people to take you to court? Do you have You don't have them, do you? That's why you don't have them, because you're part of the state. That's why. We have them. Looking forward to crushing somebody in court. Well, I have a field day in there at the end of the day. I get that on court document too. It's on court record, so we beat the crap out of somebody. Yeah, definitely. Bring it. Bring it. Cancel receipts. You gotta back yourself up. You got to back yourself up. Back it up or pack it up. New slogan, say nay to gray. Say nay to gray. Nay to gray. I'm about to do a demonstration real quick tomorrow. Does gray screens measure up? Because again, the reason why we do this is why do you do so much gray screens? Because gray screens are the biggest liars. They are. The biggest liars of all the screens in the projector community. Because they promise you something they can't do. Contrast? No. Color? No. They say they pull proper white levels. Technically, no. Not next to certifies, they won't read them. Certifies is a different type of screen. They come up kind of yellowish next to certified screens. They said they save you hundreds and thousands, hundreds of dollars. They don't. They cost you more money because you got to spend more money for expensive projectors to fix the problem that the gray screen can't do. Keep it in dark environments. They got poor gain capabilities. 2.0 is poor. That's a poor color. White screens have 2.0 right now. So 2.0 is the same equal to a white screen. And you don't have a 2.0. Black Diamond, I think that's when they had way back, was about 1.4. So the gray screens lie the most. White screen, you know it's not going to work. It's a budget screen. It's definitely not going to work. But a gray screen promises you an improvement over white screen. It does a little, but not the way they're explaining it. No. No. White screen, you're stuck in the dark. Gray screen, you have a little light in the environment, but still it affects your screen, so technically you still have to be in the dark. White screen doesn't see a contrast level. Gray screen doesn't see contrast level either. White screen requires calibration. Gray screen requires calibration. White screen requires high power projectors to get it to work. Gray screen requires high power projectors to get it to work. White screen does not work outside. Gray screen definitely doesn't work outside. I'm getting that here. Now, if this was in the era before this existed, and it was just gray screens versus white screen, then the gray screen would be supreme because it was one of the best screens because it was gray. But not anymore now. It's an old screen. It's outdated. So when I see people up there with still buying gray, especially the so-called ambient light rejection screens, and claiming that they have this high-powered ambient light rejection technology, you're still in the dark with this thing because you're not in the gray area, which is funny if you're in the gray area. You can't have your lights on. If your screen's an ambient light rejection technology, how will you have your lights on if the very light itself washes your screen out from its color and contrast? You have to be in the dark to get that to work. So kind of like, man, it's like a damn if you do. It's like a scenario of having two walls and water on both sides. Both walls have holes in them. Can't plug them both. They're too far apart. So which one are you going to decide with? Ambient light on this side, or color and contrast on this side? You can only hit one of them, and which one's more important? That's where you're at. Any gray screen. I'm not talking about just his. Any gray screen that has an ambient light rejection technology attached to it, you can't operate in fully environments because your screen can't maintain color and contrast in your washout. And how do we prove that theory? The parallax. We did it right on camera. Parallax has a 0.0. It's a 0.0 gain. It's a ambient light rejection technology. If we have the lights on, contrast is important next to our screen. You can't read. If we turn them off, it picks up. We gotta do a family today. But anyway, thought I'd come on here and do these demonstrations real quick. These eye openers at the end of the day. And somebody asked me a question about that. Now, gentlemen, you see how I work at the end of the day? Let me show you how I work. When I ask you to do something, I gotta wait months and months and months and all this excuses, blah, 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 to get you to do something. You ask me one time, it's done. Not only is it done, I put a t-shirt up there for fun. Because I can do that. I do an environment 24,000 in the ceiling on a projector sitting in eco mode at 1600 lumens. Because I can do that. Now, if I asked you to do the same thing today, could you do it? No, you can't do it. That's why it took you 6 months and the pressure from your customer just to do a demonstration on Network Grade 773, and we did it 6 months ago. So instead of that from now on, I'm not going to ask you on YouTube anymore. I'm going to send a document to your building asking you to do this, to back it up in court. I'm going to start challenging the very words you say from your mouth in the court of law. That's how we fix all that nonsense. So you want to run your mouth so much. Shut that up right from the door. Everybody will have all the tracking numbers. Any letters we send over, you'll have tracking numbers. You'll see if they signed for it or not, or basically if they send it back. You'll know. That's how you shut it down. May I tell you it's consequences for taking our content? Can I just tell you it's consequences for that? Next time you want to take... Oh yeah, by the way, there is a letter coming for that one too. Because he took something off our Facebook page and zoomed in on it and said he did the challenge. So now you got a document coming to you asking you to do that demonstration again. Full, no zooming. Fully done. Exactly the same way we did. Can't back it up. I'll see you in court. Let's see if you sign the document. Document comes back, you already know from the door. We all know he lied at the end of the day. We all know he lied. But let's put some pressure. Since he got nothing better to do this time. Dan, you know, I'll tell you something. These documents come to your place, and then court documents come. You're going to raise a red flag. You're going to wonder why are we, this guy, sending this many court documents to one address? They dig into your information. We have on file where you got some problems on your hands. You got documents coming, so enjoy them. We're going to get them back. We're going to get every single one of them back. You get a document back saying you made a statement on camera and you sent it back because you can't go to court on it. What happens when we go to court for what you just said? That's a lock and seal right there. That means that we have proof 100% that you couldn't back on what you said in the courts, which means you can hit you with a bigger lawsuit. And all we do is send it over to your attorney. Like, look, we sent them a letter out to him asking him to back this up, to sign this document, and he refused to sign it. Lawyer won't touch you. Even he's going to ask you, well, why didn't you sign it? What you said on camera was true about this guy, right? There you go. You're told on yourself. No, lawyer won't touch you. If the lawyer won't touch you, you got nobody to represent you when you walk into that courtroom, which means you're in a lot of trouble. You'll strip away your attorneys. You won't be to do anything when you get in there. You gotta have an attorney there to defend yourself. What are you gonna do if they won't touch it? All right. That being said, then we got you on video making a statement, because we dub those videos. We got you on tape, on YouTube, making the statement, send a document to your front door requesting you sign the document. Let's go to court and back up what we heard you say, and you don't sign it. I think with Fernando's issue at the end of the day, Fernando literally thought he had to get out of jail free card because he wasn't documented. That's what he thought. He thought he was going to be sent back. Oh, no. You got to stand time here first. So if you get like 2 years here, you do is 2 years here, maybe I get on probation, and then they'll send him back over. But he got some very heavy crimes. The copyrights alone can land him 80 years in jail. And he's what? He's 50 something, or no. Which one comes 51? He's 49. I think he's 49. But anyway, yeah. Just about. The copyrights will get him 80 years. Then you got post office mail fraud. They carry 20 years a pop. So you got cyber stalking, galore, and those charts. They carry 20 years a pop. Got some serious charges coming toward them. Defamation. They can carry anywhere between 5 to 7 years. You're looking at an easy 100 years and going to jail. I forgot, he got 2 accounts of copyrights. You touched the Crystal Ridge and you touched the Black Chair. And we got hardcore proof of you writing on them. Chats back and forth saying you do whatever you want. So and so and so. Had enough evidence to have a process server come to your front door. Sent you out a crease and assist from an attorney to back it down. You kept going. He's done. He get 80 years for that alone by himself. Alright, well, that's basically about it. I'm going to celebrate a holiday and pay taxes at the same time. Yeah. Gotta go. I'm in charge of marshmallows. In charge of the marshmallows. I get the big giant marshmallows, the big ones. Man, we're talking about marshmallows. I found one person eats marshmallows. I like them burnt. Because you got that taste of that burnt and that sweetness at the same time. Ooh, you don't know what you get. People like the light. They like it light. But I got a sister of mine, she has OCD. And she don't like it when I do my muscle. It drives her. Okay, take it out. Now I can take it on. That thing is on fire. You got to burn a little bit. It got to be burnt. That's the best. I can't wait. I'm getting a bag for myself. That definitely, I'm going to kill them things off. We got the little ones coming, they're going to kill those things off. But anyway, be safe out there. Happy 4th of July. Don't lose any fingers out there in the process. Because again, careful about that. This is why we buy detonator switches. You buy detonator switches for fireworks on eBay? That's where I got mine from. I ain't no way. Where I'm touching those things at the end of the day. I ain't trying to do one finger. Any one finger's gonna work. Alright, let me get my fan back on me. Okay, what? I forgot my hair cooking. That's better. Alright, we're past our time here, people. I'm so glad we have the time together. Now, again, haters at the end of the day will take this in a way. They get emotional. They get very, very emotional. They'll take it in like, oh, he must be angry and upset. Gentlemen, it's nothing to be angry and upset. You have to back your product. Whatever you're promoting, would you stick your name behind something that you don't want to? Well, you guys already did it already, so you're screwed yourself already. So let's move on from there. Yeah. But anyway, as I said before, you have to back it. You get a parking ticket, right? What are you going to do? Go to court and cry and, oh, they're out to hate me, they're out to get me, the whole parking system's out to get me. You sound paranoid now. You literally sound like you should be walking around with one of those Hershey Kiss hats on the top of your head, the silver ones. The only ones you wear when you want to keep the aliens from reading your mind. This is all part of the process of life. How long have you been on this freaking planet? At the end of the day, you guys are grown men. You should know the consequences of life. You can't sit there and cry every time something comes up. You can't back up. Oh, I forgot. You're Karens. Yes, you can. You're Karens. I forgot about that. Karens do that nonsense. They cry. They do the dumbest stuff that you can possibly think of. Get recorded doing the dumbest stuff. And then when they're busted with it, they go into this whole frenzy of temper tension and crying and screaming and poor me, poor me, poor me, poor me. That's you. Yeah, that's how it works. That has nothing to do with anything else whatsoever, period. If you're out scamming people, then you should be exposed, right? What did I say in the middle of the floor? Would you do that? Go in the middle of the floor and call out to God and say to him that if I'm all these things might be exposed. I bet you won't do that. You know why? Because you know what you are. I went on and said it. What happened? My technology jumped by huge numbers. Right now I just posted to 13 forum sites. I have the first projection screen to absorb sunlight right now. What's your product doing right now? Oh, you don't have it. Some of you gave up on your stuff and just sitting out there. You just gave up on it right there. And still pay money on a website. That doesn't sound like a very business guy to me at the end of the day. How are you paying on something you can't make money off? What you want to do? What about the Crystal Ridge? Crystal Ridge information site. Crystal Ridge has been around longer than you guys have been around. You see the dates on the bottom of my website? It's been around for a while. Crystal has been around for over 10 years. That site, the traffic that thing pulls in is insane. I can do advertising on that site and make money. Right now it's an information site. I use it basically for channeling all the traffic that thing pulls in and redirects it to where I need to go. But with that being said, gentlemen, I'm not going to waste any more time here. I got things to take care of, and you guys got to get on your channel and cry. That's usually what you do. You get on that channel and you cry. Because, you guys are the ones that sent me the whole thing about my bag up there. And what did I do? What did I do? Did I put it off? Did I make excuses because it's a holiday? Did I do it? And I came out here and get the job done. That's what I do. You're watching a man walk all up and down, all over Allentown, in the sweat, carrying bags and everything, doing recordings, getting the job done. And you lazy jokers at the end of the day can't do a proper demonstration without cheating somebody. I'm going to enjoy seeing you at work. Will you? All right. Make sure you stay tuned to their channels, The Crying Game. Yeah, I got your channels posted. On a forum site, we call your channels The Crying Game. The Crying Game. The Crying Game. Because you cry all the time. You don't cry about this. Come on with them freaking hater tissue tears. Hater tear tissues. Hater tear tissues. Gotta come with them. They're made to apply to soak up them extra tears. And like I said, look, invest in a box of Invisalign. You know why? Because, you keep crying on my stuff. And I got a lot of stuff coming out. You're going to mess around. You're going to dry up them tear ducts. And it's going to be hard for you to basically have any form of a tear suit to be able to lubricate those eyes. They're going to get dry. They'll be cracked. People think you're smoking weed all the time. Except you don't. Your eyes are all cracked up. Remember Tom and Jerry do cartoons where they haven't slept in about a week. Their eyes are all cracked up with veins and stuff. Don't be looking like that. You can walk into a church and think you're possessed. So that being said, invest in this because you need to put a couple drops in before you watch my channel. So I know you're going to push out a lot of tears. Get yourself some tissue, okay? I know, at the end of the day, I know. And they're watching my channel, and you're watching this, and you're watching a soap opera because you're there crying, all full of tears and all emotional. Look at you. Now you enjoy your day. I told you going to come here and kick your butt, didn't I? Come on, man. Don't you ever get tired of this? Every time you challenge me, I come in here and kick your butt every single time. Bam! In your face. There you go. You keep challenging me. I keep whipping your behind. You never get enough. I think you love it. I think you love it when I beat the thing I said you want to put on my screens. I think you love it. Got you to send back receipts. Those are my trophies in there. I got you to send back receipts, and he cried on every freaking receipt, including the email he told us about. buy whatever you want. It ain't work out too well, did it, Skip? Nope. Everyone talked a bunch of trash, but return money back to us. You know how embarrassing it is? We have to send back money, not one time, multiple times, back to back to back to back to back. That's sad. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna design me a desk. I'm gonna print out some more copies of all that. I'm gonna make me a desk out of your cancel receipts. I am literally gonna do that. I'm gonna do all of it. I'm gonna laminate and everything. All your cancel receipts with your email starting from the top. With his and talking all this trash. They're like, what's this? What's the desk of these jerks on YouTube? Call themselves being better than our products, and we gotta give us back all our money. I'm gonna make a desk out of it. Literally, I'm gonna make a desk out of it. Laminate. You're gonna get full credit for it. You got any on me? You don't have any. The other one said you had one. Oh, by the way, Rogers, that slander is me. You said I canceled out, right? You better have my receipts by the time we get for it. Alright then, that's basically about it right there. For me, happy 4th of July. Enjoy yourselves. For others, well, you know, they're just going to be crying on their channel. I'm going to dead serious. I'm dead serious going to do that. I want to actually turn the receipts into a desk. Call it the desk of tears. I'm going to name it the desk of tears. That's what I'm going to name it. I'm going to start putting this stuff out tomorrow. Come in tomorrow, print all your stuff out, get on the table, and start beginning the process of making the desk of tears. The desk of many tears. That's what I call it. Many tears. Oh my goodness, man. I got so much cool stuff I'm going to do with those receipts, man. I definitely want to do an hourglass that shows, like, instead of water, it's like little drops pushing through. Little drops through your tears. Oh man, I'm a ball with that. Jamie, I can literally got so many cancellations on you. I can make myself a paper mache crow with your cancel receipts. But if I'm making one, I'm not going to make an actual, I'm not going to make a crow, but I'm going to make it like a turkey that got cooked, and you got cooked, man. You got cooked, baked, barbecue, sauteed, the whole 9 yards. And you sent me back the refusal? The refusal? You sent back your own pain? Why didn't you do the demonstration? I got to ask you in court. Why didn't you do it? It was your own pain. Why? Why did you send it back? You know what was going to happen when you sent that stuff back to us, right? Everybody had the tracking numbers from there. You know, I get the tracking numbers. I posted them everywhere. People can still go in and check those tracking numbers. It says you refused it. You sent it back. It's your own product, man. How do you refuse your own product? And they get the nerve to come up on YouTube and say, best of the best. I make the best green paints in the world. This is where we know you're delusional and not there. Send it back. This box right here, I'll never throw it away. I'll never throw it away. So we gotta bring it to court anyway. But it's the best box in the world. I'm gonna get more paint by the way. I got the 2 paints you're gonna do. We did 2 of them, 3 of them. You do the other 2 you're missing. Get those done. Or send it back. And you know what? I want some more of this refusal paint. So I'm gonna send you a gallon of this paint to get you to refuse to send it back. That's the only way you get refusal paint. He has to refuse it. It's the only way. Can't get it any other way. He has to refuse it. That's the only way you get refusal paint. Only way you can get it. That's the best paint in the world right now. Out of all the paint that I paid for from him, that is the best paint. You know why? Because it's refused. It's made from his own tutorial video demonstration, and he basically could not back it up and sent it back to us. How are you going to make my product? How are you going to do my challenge? You know, you can't even do your own paint. The crying game. How your stuff is made. This is the upgrade version of the Metallica mix right here. Simple. 3 tablespoons of black paint into 1 quart of white paint. 1 tablespoon of dark silver Metallica mica powder. This is the real version of what his paint was supposed to be when he was selling it. Instead, he was selling this stuff right here to you, which is actually only roughly, let me see, it's a little bit. I got good thing I put tape up here. There we go. This right here is Crow's Metallica Mix 2.0, 2 tablespoons of black paint into 1 quart of white paint. That's it. That's what he was showing you online. This is what you were afraid of. You're afraid of this, but it's your paint. Why would you send this back? It's your paint. Now see, Jamie, you say I'm talking to you right now. That's how my lawyer's going to talk to you in court. Like, why did you send it back? Isn't this your paint? It's in the video. We saw it right there. Why would you send it back? Because we requested in the letter that came to you in that box that stated that we need you to test this against all your great paints. And you knew it would match. That's why. Because it matched in our video demonstration. So when you sat there and said you want to take me to court for making that video, you can't. Because we sent the paint to you. You yourself, the person who made it, and you sent it back to me. Refusal. Anybody can check that tracking number? Here's the tracking number right here for you. It's a tracking number right here. Break it down so it doesn't read the barcode. It's a tracking number. Look it up. You didn't come to the video and pause it right here and just check it out. He refused it. He sent it back. Sent to your company. That's what we sent it to. And it had a special label on it, which it had something called a restricted label that was only meant for you. So you can't sit there and say, as the delivery date, all that, you can't sit there and say at the end of the day that somebody else, they can't do it. Only you can do it. Only you. So you're the only ones that had the authority to send it back. So you sent it back, right? All right, then. Enough said. You can't call yourself making my product in a day and challenging my stuff today. You can't even back up your own stuff. How does that work? Well, you do got a letter coming to you, by the way, that is notarized, and it does state about the claim that you made that was your video in the video that you claimed. You know, you said you did the same thing we did, right? The challenge. All right then. I expect you to sign it back to us and see in court and talk to you about that one. If you can't sign it, then Mr. Fernando should the day you lied on camera again, which we all know you did. But I like to basically, you know, put no pressure on you. Sooner or later, you gotta leave that apartment. You're gonna have to leave sooner or later. One of those documents hit, you're gonna have to walk into a courthouse sooner or later. You know what happens in courthouses, right? Sooner or later, you're gonna have to leave. You're gonna leave sooner or later. All right. That being said, I'm gonna get some barbecue. Tell me already. I want a hamburger. I want a barbecue hamburger. All my people's already contacted. Where the frick you at? A live stream, having some fun. What are you gonna do with your life? Yes, I hear you, my peoples. I hear you, my people. Thank you. I just posted a form for the new technology. Already. Saying it to my, what the frick is that? That screen outside? What's the lumen? That's a 300. Yeah, it's kicking off the 300 lumen projector. That's gonna blow up on that technology. It's gonna blow up. I'm about to blow up. You challenge Mr. Furnace, what you did. Remember he had something called Crow Boys? Remember that nonsense? Talking about you mess with Crow, you get the flock. Man, as far as I'm concerned, you guys got tarred and feathered right now. They don't want to come back and stuff right after they just seem like a bird. Ain't no way in the world. You got plucked, tarred, and feathered again. White feathers, make sure it counts. You couldn't back yourself up. They all bailed out one by one. So you mean to tell me need because we got that technology like that. And my screen's coated with that black technology. So I'm definitely taking that right there. We're not the screen of it. See that little right? Taking my battery back. Take charge it outside the battery pack. Piece of that. That'll take on the charge because I did buy all this stuff. Need for stuff too. Alright, so I'm taking this battery pack, cords and all that. That's his fire stick. They got a fire stick there. I'm taking my phone. I got my Netflix account, got my Hulu account, all that. Oh snap! I just thought about that. I'm gonna hook that one off, man. Now it pops up in my head. I was out there doing a demonstration. I got Netflix and Hulu, and I got games on my phone. Well, I'll be till next time. There's some gaming on the phone outside, and I got my Netflix on watching movies. So I'm just been watching movies out there. What the freak? Yeah. Okay, thought about it later. Anyways, I thought about it now. Let me see. Let's go over this. I'm taking the unlike your lazy behinds, I work every freaking day. You know why? I got a ton of work. I'm the only one that can do this. I can't let anybody run these formulas because I'm the only one that knows what's in them. That's why I can't let anybody run. I can do it myself. So I design all the labels. I maintain 2 websites. I got multiple form sites I'm attached to. And they start to do all my testing, all that. And you guys, meanwhile, are sitting on your channels crying. That's why your companies didn't go anywhere. You don't work. And Jamie, at the end of the day, come on, man. Yeah, you're coming for how long? Like 5-something years? You're still working a job. You know how that works, right? The reason why people start their own companies is so they don't have to work anymore by somebody else. They control their own destiny. That's why. That's why you got somebody comes in, man, it's the last day here, man. I'm finally going to take that leap. But go out there and do it, man. I'm going to start, me and my wife been working hard, getting this place ready. I'm going to take that leap. That's the whole thing about business. And then taking that faith, have that faith in your own product, take that leap. It's a very dangerous leap. But some people make it, some people don't. But at least you tried. That's all that matters. You did try. You couldn't even do that. Because you didn't have any faith in this product. It was a scam. That's why. You have to make a choice. on, Mr. Fernando, you kept your job, and your job was job security. That's why you kept your job. And the business you had, you really didn't take it seriously because you didn't really have to depend on it. You had to depend on something for your life, for your livelihood. You were going to take it very seriously. Because if it doesn't work, that means you're not going to be at work. But you had a backup. You had a job on the side, that job you're working that really paid for all your stuff. And that's why you pretty much slacked off on the job you had to begin with. And cutting corners, whatever crap you were doing. So now, you don't have your other job. I know why you don't have your other job, because you can't walk out that door every day, because that's dangerous walking that door every day. Because again, like I said, ICE is snatching anybody and everybody up. They're raiding Home Depot left and right. You definitely can't go there. How would you be to make your paints anyway? You can't go to Home Depot. There's too many places you can go. Now, since they passed that bill, good gracious, man, you gotta be kidding me. They're gonna have funding higher than the military. So again, that nightmare, that nonsense that went on. Yeah, that whole bill nonsense, right? But see, that's why I said you're gonna have to build. That's why I build job security for myself. And on top of it, like I said, because I put my faith in God. These what's going on right now, it doesn't affect Christians. True blue Christians, that stuff doesn't affect us at all. Why? Because the Lord protects us. That's why. COVID, I made a ton of money in COVID. I made a lot of money in COVID. My business didn't suffer. I never caught the disease ever. Never had it ever. I got the shots and stuff, but never ever had a disease. I was blessed to have a job that I could stay in, not to go anywhere. I had postal workers that came by and picked up all my packages and took them from A to B. And my orders shot through the roof. Before it took care of it. Unfortunately, some people didn't have it that way. And the money I made, extra money, I made a lot of extra money. I gave it to other people. I gave it to other people that I knew at the end of the day that had health issues and they couldn't go out. So I paid their bills. I paid for their rent. What did you do with your company? Nothing. They go out and do dumb stuff to lose it. That's pretty much what you did. Now, with that being said, I'm going to enjoy my day on the 4th of July, have some fun. So, some detonator switches, some fireworks. Next time I'm going to Texas. Texas, I know they got the big boy toys over there. They got the big fireworks over there. I know I got Texas over there right now. And they blowing the big stuff. They blow stuff over here. I know, trust me, I know. Get the Komodo. We got to make a Komodo. Oh, somebody, yeah, we got to make a Komodo 3000. Man, that's got to be, yeah, that's a warhead. It was a warhead. The base when it went